I don't know. I told you I only use that one a lot. So you're going to teach me all new ones to check out.
There we go. Yeah, that's what this class is about. We'll look at some videos where people are kind of demoing what they like and don't like. And
Oh,
yeah, because it's a new brave world.
yeah.
Hey, I get that on the music side too. It's the same thing, It's the digital world. A lot of stuff going on in it. That's funny. All right. I don't hear any more pinks coming in, so we probably can get going. I just came out of a class, so I'm like trying to get situated here. All right. And Nina, are you staying? Are you going to be the co-host or are you going to be heading out?
Heading out after 5.
Okay. No problem. We'll let Chris come in and then we'll get started. All right. He's still connecting. There he is. Hello, Chris. Welcome. All right, everyone. I want to welcome you to Get Set Up. We're seniors teaching seniors about technology, and we also have social hours and all kinds of programming. Today's class, we're going to be talking about top drawing apps. What people are really using today and how they're using them. My name's Donna. I'm your guide for today. I was in the IT industry for over 30 years. I enjoy helping people get over their fear of technology. This session is being recorded. If you wish to get a copy of the recording, you can do so by emailing help@getsetup.io. And we are not paid to promote anything that I talk about today. Just did some research and came up with some good reviews that I thought you would enjoy listening to on these apps. So what we're going to look at is what are some of the most popular apps people are using when we talk about doing digital art and the type of platforms that they support. And some of the popular features that these people are looking for in these drawing apps. So does anyone right now use a drawing app that they enjoy using? Does anyone? I know Chris does.
Yeah.
You use Sketches, right?
Yes, Sketches.
Yes.
It's put out by Taya Sui, and I love it.
Yeah. I actually put that on my iPad. Anyone have any others? Or are you just curious now? And feel free to turn on your videos if you'd like to, lower left-hand corner of the screen. All right, so I would assume then most people are just doing art the old way on canvas and paper. So what we'll explore today is what are some options. And I do have a class coming up that's going to be about more of the technology of digital art. So this one, we're going to talk about the apps, and then there'll be another class where we talk about like what would you need to purchase, the type of tablets that are out there for drawing tablets and that type of stuff, the technology part. We'll be covering that in another class. All right, so I'm going to show you some, first I'm going to listen to some videos. And these will give you a little idea of what we're talking about here. This is a young lady who talks about getting started with digital art. You see a little bit of the setup she does. This is just to give you an idea of what people are doing when we talk about this digital art. So I'm going to turn this on here for you.
I started doing webcomics about 8 years ago, and my style now is basically unrecognizable from what it used to be. I drew with a ballpoint pen on paper, scanned it, and it looked like this. Then I started drawing digitally, and it changed everything. There's a ton of options out there, and with the right tools, anyone can learn how to do digital art.
So she says.
So this is my main setup, and this is just a standard entry-level Wacom bamboo tablet that you just plug into a laptop with a USB cable. And I've had this for a few years, and it's never given me any issues, considering how badly I treat it. Wacom sells a ton of different models ranging in price, but the new $80 Intuos should have more than enough features for anyone just starting out. I recently got a 9.7-inch iPad Pro and Apple Pencil, mainly so I could work while I'm traveling, but really I just use it to draw in bed. I do wish I went slightly bigger, but it's not a deal breaker. A lot of artists say the 10.5 inch is like the perfect size because it makes all the toolbars accessible, but I think this works fine for me. And also the new $329 iPad works with the Apple Pencil, so it makes portable drawing more affordable than ever. If you don't want to spend $99 on an Apple Pencil, or your older iPad doesn't support it, keep in mind there are other stylus options out there. You just have to look for features like pressure sensitivity, palm rejection, tilt support, maybe even some shortcut buttons. And this will make the move to digital feel a lot more natural. Let's take a step back and talk about the basics of drawing. To draw this bobblehead of Will, our art director, start with a rough sketch, laying out the proportions with simple shapes. His head is an oval, his body is more of a rectangular oval, and his arms and legs are like thick noodles. Then I'll go back and add details like his eyes, connecting the ovals with more precise lines. Now you can start the inking layer. This is basically going over the rough sketch in a more precise way, and you have to be a little bit more careful here as this is the final version of the drawing that you'll color in. For me, the biggest advantage of digital art is the ability to work in layers. Think of it like drawing on tracing paper. Layers allow you to stack the many parts of your image on different levels to form the whole drawing, which makes editing the final image easier. So once I have the full outline of what I'm drawing, I just fill in the colors on another layer underneath. And for shading, I'll add a layer over that. Shading can be daunting, but it's pretty easy if you think about light in the physical world. First, decide where your light source is coming from and use that as your guide to determine which parts will be the shadows and which parts will be the highlights. So for the shadows, I take a black brush with a lowered opacity, darken one side of the drawing, and highlight the other side in white where the light is hitting the subject. The end result is this lovely drawing of Will drawn in 4 separate layers. If you're concerned about how drawing on glass might affect you, you can always look into matte screen protectors that'll mimic the feeling of drawing on paper. I tried one out from a company called Paperlike, and it really helped bring some resistance to drawing on the iPad. So once you have all your tools, we're going to move on to software. On my MacBook, I like to use software like Adobe Photoshop, but on the iPad, I use Clip Studio Paint because it's most like a desktop app. There's all these other drawing apps on the iPad like Procreate or Adobe Draw, but these apps kind of have like a learning curve because you have to learn each app's gesture controls, like double tapping to undo. If you're not happy with any of these apps, there's always other options. There's software like AstroPad or Duet Display that lets you connect your iPad to a computer so you can use it as a second display. And if you're in the market for a new laptop altogether, there's always 2-in-1 devices like a Microsoft Surface Pro. So everything's on there. You can use the desktop version of Photoshop, and there's no transferring of files like you would have with an iPad. Since I'm most comfortable with the macOS interface, using a Wacom tablet just makes sense for me. If you're in a position where you're trying to decide what's best for you, think more about the apps you want to use and for what purpose. But ultimately, making art is a personal experience, so play around and find your favorite options. Thanks for watching. This is from our new series, Workflow.
Oh, she reminds me too much of some of my nieces. Any questions about that, what we were just watching? And for the terminology, we're going to be having a class, I think it's coming up either next week or the week after, on some of these terminology for digital art. I just wanted you to see that video so you can get a feel for what it looks like when someone's drawing on a tablet, you know, what that would look like for you as an artist. All right, so I'm going to show you another video. This one's going to be this guy named Brad. He's going to show you what he feels are the, well, actually, it's not just his opinion, on the web too, some of the 5 top apps for drawing here. And they're free, which is really nice.
That are completely free, and I'm not talking about asterisk free where there's some catch later on or some trial. No, we're talking free. So if you're brand new and looking to get started and use something awesome, or if you're looking for something to replace that monthly subscription, this is the place to start. I would like to thank today's sponsor, the .site domain extension. They hooked me up with a brand new domain name. If you want to reach my site, all you have to do is type in brad.site. That's it. You don't have to remember my last name or anything. I'd like to thank them for the sponsorship, and if you'd like to learn more right now, there's more information down below in the description. Until then, let's get on with the video. Now, the apps I'm going to talk about today, they're not in any particular order. It's just a list of things I like. First up is Medibang. It's available on Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and iOS. Pretty much everywhere you are, Medibang is there, creepily peeking around the corner. You may know Medibang from its other name, Fire Alpaca. Yes, that is a real name. No, I am not making it up. Medibang is open source. I think Fire Alpaca is a fork of the original. I'm really on shaky knowledge ground here right now, so let's leave it at this. They are pretty much identical. Cool thing about Medibang is if you ever ask yourself, I wonder if it could do this, the answer is usually yes. Yes, it can. Medibang is the most traditional app on this list. It's not doing anything fancy. It's not breaking any new ground. It's just a super competent drawing and painting application that works the way you expect it to work. If you're coming from an app like Photoshop or Clip Studio, it will feel very familiar to you. And I think this is a good thing. I haven't used Medibang for long stretches of time, but I still feel at home when I do use it. So it's not breaking any new ground or trying to be different. It's just doing what you'd expect it to do. It's like the Toyota Camry of painting programs. Not exciting, but it's good, it's reliable, and it makes sense. They've managed to pack a lot in this four-door sedan. There are features that you need and expect in an app like this. And though you could draw anything in this app, it's really geared towards comic and manga, and many of the features that they've added in here support those styles. There is a comic panel creator tool here that makes it quick and easy and really kind of fun to make comic panels. There's also comic page management. So if you're working on a book or a really long web comic, you can easily keep track of all your pages within the app. Medibang also has a cloud service. I haven't used it much because I'm up to my ears in cloud services as it is. I don't need another one. But they're doing some interesting things beyond just file saving here. They're also offering things like additional fonts and resources within the app. If you want a halftone dot pattern to go in your comic, go and download it. If you want some neat hatching effects, they've got you covered. You need more stars than you can shake a stick at? Here you go. For a free app, Medibang is pretty impressive. Next up is Sketchbook. Wait a minute, Sketchbook ain't free. Au contraire. That's French for you're wrong or something. Sketchbook went from an annual subscription plan to being straight up free almost 2 years ago. So I guess this probably isn't news to anyone. Sketchbook is available on Windows, Mac, Android, and the iPad. There are a lot of artists and illustrators out there who absolutely love Sketchbook. It's been around for a long time. There are a ton of features packed into this app. It's very touch friendly, even if you're using it on like a tablet PC. And it has a very minimalistic interface, so everything gets out of your way when you're drawing. Got a lot of natural media brushes here, and a lot of them do really feel organic, or as organic as a painting program can get. I like how they even break down the brushes visually by the shape of the brush that you would be using if you were painting in real life. Most painting apps would just have a generic brush icon or show you what the line would look like, and both ways of visualizing brushes have their pros and cons. There's not a wrong way to do it, but I like this. I think if you're coming from traditional art and going into the digital space, especially early on, you're gonna feel more at home seeing tools that you recognize and know. If you see just a bunch of dozen lines, you're not gonna really understand how that line is created or what that tool is supposed to do for you. Sketchbook also packs in some grid and symmetry tools, some really nice perspective tools and guidelines, even distort and transform tools so you can shift something around on the perspective grid. There are a wide range of selection tools. I bring this up because it's not just for painting, but also editing your artwork here as well. Sometimes you're drawing something and the head is just too dang big, or something's just off. It can be easier to select the modifier sketch than to go back, redraw the whole thing, and realize you're never gonna draw the nose right again. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience here. And there's more tools here too, like dynamic gradient fills, the flipbook animation features, the shape drawing templates. Basically, this is a pro level app, and now it is free. One thing to note is after you've downloaded it, you will need to create an account in order to use the full version of the app. One thing that I notice is, for whatever reason, Sketchbook is one of the more sensitive drawing tools out there. If you're not confident when putting down a line, it's gonna pick that up. It's gonna pick up some of that jitter in your hand. Good news here is there is a line smoothing tool that is gonna help to offset that. Speaking from personal experience, there is a lot to love here, even though I've never 100% gotten into some of the tools. Things like panning and zooming, it just does it differently than other painting applications. It takes time to get used to, but if you're willing to dedicate yourself to this app, that's a pretty easy thing to overcome and adapt to. That was the question, Parrot. Today's question, what about GIMP? Okay, deep breath, Brad. I don't like GIMP. I really don't like GIMP. And GIMP really isn't a design and illustration program. Well, I guess it kind of is. Basically, GIMP is designed to replace Photoshop. So photo editing, drawing, painting, everything that you can do in Photoshop, GIMP is designed to replace. It was originally designed.
GIMP has been around for like, oh God, Chris, how long? 40 years? It's been a long time.
Yeah,
Nothing
I
wrong with that.
don't use it.
Yeah, because I think they kind of stopped developing it at a certain point, didn't it? Kind of get forgotten.
Yeah, I haven't heard
Yeah.
much about it for a long time.
It used to be just to, I think web people used it more to do the little GIFs, the little
Oh, yeah. Okay.
characters, right? That was popular for that.
But when it got ported over, what I've found is that it's laggy, it's slow.
I was
it's not
surprised he
native to
mentioned
the
it.
Mac where I tend to draw. And I think it gets mentioned a lot because it's free and it does so many different things. But for me, I'm not a fan of the workflow and I wish it was snappier. I wish I could use it faster. So unfortunately, GIMP, not on this list. If you like it, if you love it, if your workflow works with GIMP, keep on keeping on, man. Next up is MyPaint. One thing to know about MyPaint is it has potential, lots and lots of potential. MyPaint is an open source painting app that started on Linux, but also runs on Windows and on Mac. You might have to do a little bit of work, especially if you want to get this to run on your Mac. I found installers for Windows, and I found a video on how to get it running on a Mac. It involves installing Xcode and Terminal, so I said, hey, cool, thanks, but I'll leave this one to the Windows guys. And when you go to the MyPaint site, it's designed for developers, not consumers. That's because it's on version 2 of its alpha. What's an alpha? It's the release that comes before beta. So this is not ready for prime time yet, which is why I talk about its potential. But beyond these growing pains, there is definitely something cool happening here. First of all, it has an infinite canvas. What the heck does that mean? In most drawing programs, the very first thing they ask you is, hey, what canvas size would you like to draw on? It makes sense, but here you can keep sliding to the left or to the right or up and down as far as you want. So if you're sketching, you want your sketch to go further, you just pan over. And you could do this endlessly, forever, or until you run out of RAM, whichever comes first. It's a pretty cool feature. I've seen it in a couple other apps too, but this is the first time I've seen something like this in a free app. Another cool feature that they've added in here is something called a scratch pad. It's like a tiny little canvas that you can practice on. Not sure how two colors look together when they're blended? Test it on the scratch pad. Want to see what your brushes look like before you use it on the canvas? Test it on the scratch pad. A lot of people have recommended this to me, and I stumbled upon it recently because one of my favorite art YouTubers, Sarah Tepes, uses it. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. So this app has gotten a lot of attention within the art community, and I'm just curious to see where it goes. Next up is iBez Paint X. iBez Paint is a mobile-only painting app. It's available on Android and iOS. Now, I know I said these apps are asterisk free, and this is the one app on here that I put an asterisk by because I'm a big fat liar who likes to lie. Also, I should point out, you can use this app without ever paying anything. It's not going to time out or stop you from saving your files or some other trial-like restriction. Here's where the asterisk comes in. You can upgrade, which will remove the ads along the top and will unlock the brushes. The reason I included this app here is 1, it's good, and 2, you can unlock those brushes just by viewing an ad. It says it will unlock the brushes for a, quote, period of time. It's not specific how long that period of time is, but it's at least a couple hours. I can confirm that. Also, 1 ad view unlocks everything. I'm also including iBez because out of this list of 5 apps that run on Android and iPads, this one is probably my favorite. Sketchbook is really good, but the hand gestures, they slow me down a little bit. I'm not a fan of the 3-finger swipe to undo. I like the 2-finger tap. That's something that iBez has incorporated. I like this more than Medibang because on tablets, it's a little bit more minimalistic and streamlined. Medibang has more stuff tucked away in there. That's not a bad thing. It's just a preference I have. iBez borrows a lot of features from Procreate. I mentioned the 2-finger tap to undo before, but there's also little things like tap to hold to grab a color. And I mentioned the unlocking of the brushes. There are a lot of brushes once you unlock them, and they're great for comics, cartooning, manga illustration. There's a lot here, and you will find something you like. And since it is designed for line art, there's also things like line stabilization, tapering at the end of strokes, really some cool tools. There are also some great shapes, rulers, things like that. There aren't any vector shapes. It's more like a template. You put down your template and you can use it to draw your shape. Good stuff. Along with the comic-oriented brushes, there's screen tone textures for manga-style shading. These paint on just like any other brush, and there's 40 textures here to experiment with. I like to overlap textures to see how badly I can mess up my artwork. Turns out, I'm pretty good at that. Also, like Medibang, there's a comic panel maker. These are just fun to play with. I usually draw boxes with my comics, but as soon as you start dragging the lines around and slicing things up with this comic panel creator, you start to think about the layout in a different way and what's actually possible. It's funny how the tools like this can start to expand your creativity. I would like to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, the .site domain extension. As an illustrator, you want to put your work in the best. It's so much easier to remember. Nobody's got a can get a massive 50%
I'm just going to skip past this part.
Drawing.
There we go.
The links down below and the code Brad Colbo. We got to talk about Krita. It might be my favorite app on this list. I don't particularly like drawing on it with these small screen devices like the Surface Pro that you see me drawing on here in the background. And that's because it doesn't leave me a ton of drawing space, but when I have it on pretty much any other screen, it's really nice. Krita is a digital painting app available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's geared towards digital painting and visual effects, but it's versatile enough to be used for manga, comics, those sort of things too, and you're gonna feel right at home no matter what you jump in to draw. The brush selection is pretty intense. There is a lot here, and a lot of these brushes are trying to recreate natural media. That's part of the appeal. There's a drop down for sorting these sorts of things, which makes life a little bit easier if you're looking for just the right brush. There are pencils, pens for inking, lots of brushes with different textures, and also blending tools in your brushes. I personally don't need a ton of brushes. I stick with pretty basic stuff for my artwork, but for painters, people who love experimenting with this stuff, there is a lot to explore here. The one thing that I really liked here that I did not expect until I dove a little deeper were the animation features. I knew they were here, but I had no idea how good they were. They're basically frame-by-frame animation tools, but they're so well thought out. You've got your timeline, of course, and there's some nice onion skinning tools, and you can see the outline of your previous frame, that sort of thing. There's also an audio import feature, and altogether, the way it is streamlined with its shortcuts and ways of speeding up the process, I'm thinking I might have to do like a legit tutorial on this, because as I was going through it, I was like, this is really good and it's free. And as an added bonus, you get to use all those great art brushes in your animations. Okay, I'm gonna stop gushing about animation now because Krita has other tools and things that we gotta talk about too, like click to erase. It's like a fill tool, but for your eraser, and little things like it maps the eyedropper tool to the control key so it's easier to just grab colors on the fly. It's got shape assist tools, measuring tools, there's a lot more here, and they have a mascot. A mascot! I wish I had a mascot. No, I mean a good mascot. So those are the 5 I like. Let me know below which one you like the best, and also let me know, did I miss one that
I think he's had about 10 cups of coffee. At least. So that gives you, and you will get notes on all of these and links to these videos I'm showing you, so you can go back and take a look. It really depends on the type of drawing you do, what will appeal to you on some of these apps. But the nice thing is I tried to find things that are free, because no one wants to pay a monthly, fee on an app. Now, Chris, I have a question. Did you know of? You probably know of all of those. Do you have a favorite or not?
Are you talking to me, Chris?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you, Chris.
No, I didn't know of any of them because I told you I stuck with my one because it's simple, basic, and I don't really get into all the very involved tools and stuff. So
right, yeah, and we will cover some basic ones. I have some real basic ones on my iPad. Where we'll take a look at some of those. But I wanted to let you know what is out there, because some people, if you are more of an advanced artist, you might be interested in those. So I don't want to leave anyone out. All right, so the next video I want to show you, this guy, and this guy, by the way, draws a lot better than that last one. He's going to cover what are some of the best apps for iPad, because a lot of times people will be doing their drawing on the iPad. It is kind of the easiest, and there's also other and in my next class I'll be doing about digital art. We're going to talk about terminology, and we'll be talking about the different other types of pads that you could use for drawing, especially if you're in the Windows world. But iPad, it is, it has become kind of what everyone is, doing. All right, here we go. Let me find my guy here. Oh, there he is.
This video is sponsored by Paperlike. Procreate, Medibank, Clip Studio, and a bunch of other apps are trying their best to become the standard of drawing and painting on the iPad. And even if Procreate is right now king of the hill, does that mean it is the best? What's up guys, Lucas here. I'm a concept artist and illustrator working for video games, and this channel is all about art and art related content, so if that's something that you like, consider subscribing. So today we're gonna be looking at some of the best painting and drawing apps here on the iPad. I'm gonna be going through some of the specifications that make these apps different, and I'm also gonna be painting a little demonstration on each one of them so that you know what are they capable of. Let's start with the elephant in the room, and that is Procreate. I know everybody knows about Procreate, so don't worry, this is more of a disclaimer than a review of Procreate. I have enough videos talking about Procreate, so if you're interested in looking at them, I'm gonna post a link right there. I have been using Procreate for years. It has always been my go-to app for the iPad, and now it has become almost like the standard for artists and illustrators on the iPad. Because of this, I'm gonna be reviewing all of these other apps from the perspective of a Procreate and Photoshop user. It's just simply what I use every day at my personal art and at work. So what is the deal with Procreate and why does everybody love it so much? It is a $10 app and then it is yours forever. All the updates, everything is yours. It was created specifically for the iPad and it feels just exceptionally smooth. The user interface doesn't get in your way and just simply lets you work. Procreate is not Photoshop, and that is something very important. It doesn't pretend to be Photoshop. Some of the things it does better, like for example the brushes are even more customizable, it works with a ton of gestures to accelerate your workflow, and other things here and there, like the recording of your painting and a great perspective tool. Something that people have been asking Adobe for the last 10 years? But if you are used to making art on the computer, there are some things here and there that you will be missing. Sometimes it is a filter, sometimes it is having a navigator window, sometimes having adjustment layers. So the thing is, if you want to paint on the go, on your iPad comfortably, Procreate will do it for you and on an exceptional way. I just wouldn't replace my Photoshop with it. Okay, so with the popular kid out of the way, let's talk about the other apps, the secretly good-looking cousins. But before that, let's talk about the people that made this video possible, Paperlike. Let me tell you, I have no idea how artists use their iPads without Paperlike. Seriously, the first thing that I did when I got my iPad and tried to draw on that slippery, squeaky mess of a screen was getting a screen protector. Paperlike is gonna change this glassy, slippery screen into the feeling of drawing on a sketchbook with a graphite pencil. It will...
Just to let you know, I mean, some artists do like that Paperlike because it does have a little bit of resistance when you're drawing on the thing. Hey, Chris, have you ever used those? Yeah, now I've heard another complaint too where some of the sensitivity gets lost with it. So I know some people have made that comment, so just
also make your screen matte.
I'm gonna skip past that a little
painting.
bit.
If you're using your iPad with a knockoff screen protector, or even worse, trying to paint on that glass screen, do yourself a favor and click the link on the description below, order yourself a Paperlike, and thank me later. Okay, let's talk about Autodesk Sketchbook. Sketchbook is completely free, and I mean free. No ads, no blocked brushes, no banners, no anything. Sketchbook is made for product designers. That means that you're gonna see several tools useful for mechanical drawing. That means perspective tools, shapes, and the best rulers that I have tried in any software. But that doesn't mean that you cannot just paint in this app. Sketchbook has all the essentials you would like in a painting software. Customizable control brushes, smudge, layers, and even a few extras like a nice visual representation for the tools, recording of your painting that you can turn on and off. And I love this little puck thingy tool that you can just position wherever you want, and you can control your brush and your colors at the same time. But if there's something that impressed me about Sketchbook is the minimalistic painting mode. I mean, the UI is already super minimal, but when you make it smaller, you get this control of your color, layer, and brushes all with a single button. So I think that is genius. But of course, as with any other painting app, there are some cons, and those were kind of a deal breaker for me to use this tool. I know it sounds spoiled, but undo and redo work with swiping instead of tapping in this app, and it is just so much slower than tapping. The color picker is kind of slow, and I just couldn't manage to export a file with layers out of it, just a flat image. Talking about layers, Sketchbook is missing a couple of tools that I simply cannot live without. Those are masks and clipping masks. So if you're like me, you're gonna be missing them. So in general, I am quite impressed with Sketchbook, just that I wouldn't use it to do anything else than little sketches or drawings for fun. Definitely not full illustrations on it. Let's talk now about Adobe Fresco, an app that received a ton of hate when it came out. $10.99 for a bare bones app. A bunch of friends and people here in YouTube couldn't believe that greedy Adobe would release a half-cooked app that would cost you more than $100 yearly against Procreate, their direct competition. But that was then, and this is now, and I have to say that Fresco doesn't look bad at all anymore. The app is free. Yes, you can pay the monthly subscription and you would get Photoshop for the iPad, cloud storage, and more brushes. But to be honest, that is nothing that you would actually need. So how is it for a free app? The biggest selling point of Fresco was, and still is, the live brushes. Brushes that make you feel like you're painting in traditional media. And I have to give it to them, those brushes look and feel amazing. They really feel like traditional media. Aside from those live paint brushes, Fresco has vector and regular pixel brushes. The vectors are nothing special, to be honest, but the regular pixel brushes are quite satisfying to use. It took me a while to go through the available brushes and fish out the ones that I liked. You can mark them as favorite, and that would make them easily accessible for you. Because it has 3 types of brushes, you have also 3 types of layers. You can only use the pixel brushes on the pixel layers and so on. I know it's a small thing, but for somebody that doesn't use those tools, it just feels like extra buttons laying around that I don't need. I was very glad to see a customizable UI. You could leave the color wheel, layers, and brushes open, so almost everything that you would need. Medibang. I have heard great things about this app, and not all of them were true. Medibang is free, but it comes with ads. You can pay $9 to get rid of them, but to be honest, they are not noticeable at all, so you can use it just as it is. The app is targeted at manga and comic artists, so it is full of things like tools to make your panels and resources that make your life, if you're a comic artist, easier, like a salad brush. With a bunch more things than Sketchbook and Fresco, this app comes with features that any Photoshop user would already take for granted. We got all the brushes that you can wish to download. We got text, gradients, clipping masks, and a bunch of other things. But there are some problems that make Medibang a no-go for me. If you want to export a layered file, you have to purchase the software. The smudge was a disaster to use, to the point that the regular brushes mix the color better than the smudge. The undo and redo were very laggy, and I had to select the color picker tool to use it instead of the useful gesture of just tapping in the middle of the screen. And the thing that broke the deal for me, and that is, you have to navigate through these little buttons right here to be able to go between the brushes, the brush settings, and the color selection. And every time that you tap on one, it closes the previous one that you had open. So at the end, I found myself more juggling between these windows than actually enjoying the painting. A shame, because besides those problems, Medibang does a pretty decent job. Let's talk now about Clip Studio Paint, and now we are talking power. Clip Studio is a full-featured desktop software with anything that a digital artist could need, and thanks to some wizardry, now you can do it all in your iPad. You got a completely customizable UI, all the windows that you could wish, all the brushes, and everything that you would like to create, pixels, animations, and even 3D. But of course, all of that comes with a price. You can have Clip Studio for free for only 3 months, and after that you have to pay a subscription. Yeah, I know everybody hates subscriptions, but for the price of this one and everything that Clip Studio offers, maybe it is worth it. You pay $4 per month or $24 yearly, and you get access to Clip Studio on your iPad and on your Mac and or Windows, depending on what you have, one device at a time. Now, I am not gonna go and list everything that Clip Studio has because we're gonna spend a whole day here. It suffices to say that this app or this software is in another league compared with the other apps that we were talking about. I think it does even more than Photoshop does in your computer, and you have all of that power in your iPad, on the go. It is a shame, but this beast of an app will suck the battery of your iPad quite fast. And I don't know if it's because I have that 2017 iPad Pro, but for some reason I noticed it getting heat pretty fast, something that will not happen on other apps unless I was working on gigantic files with a ton of layers. So if you're looking to replace Photoshop on your iPad and computer, then I think that Clip Studio is what you are looking for. Now, what about Art Studio Pro? Art Studio is a premium app, $12 is the price, so just a bit above Procreate. But I have to tell you, Art Studio impressed me. It is like the very good looking baby of Procreate and Clip Studio. It does everything you wanted to do, all the Photoshop shenanigans, but in a beautiful presentation done for your iPad, kinda like Procreate. You got text, filters, liquify, layer effects, rulers, adjustments, and a ton of other things, including multi-document support. Yes, you can open several files at the same time and navigate through them, just like in Photoshop. Only 2 things I got against it. First, not being able to customize your UI, leave windows open, like your color selector, your layers, or your brushes. Second, this app also drains your battery heavily. But I guess you can expect that from an app that does so much as Art Studio. So if you want something as powerful as Photoshop but packaged for the iPad, so nice and sleek and beautiful, Art Studio is for you. So I would say Autodesk Sketchbook is for people that want to do quick things on a light app. Art Studio Pro is for the pros that can't decide between Photoshop and Procreate. Clip Studio is for the ones that want their iPad to be a workstation and replace Photoshop completely. Procreate is for the middle ground. They are happy giving up some tools and don't want their iPad to feel like a desktop, but still want to be able to paint and have a bunch of the tools that they usually have. Finally, Medibang and Fresco, they're really not bad, but I think others in this list do their job better. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video till the end. Leave me a like if it was useful.
All right. So that's to give you a little feel for these apps, what they look like, what it looks like to work on these. There is a learning curve on most of these. There's going to be some type of a learning curve. It's not as simple as just painting on a piece of paper or canvas, that's for sure. So when Medibang was one of them mentioned, it is free. I'm just going to kind of recap some of these features that we saw in the video. This one is the one that you can do comics or books where you can have you can cut the different panels. And they have, this one works on Apple, Android, and Mac and PC. So whatever type of device you have, you'll be able to use it. And they have additional fonts and resources. And I think one guy liked it and the other guy didn't in the video. Sketchbook, Autodesk, and this is the one, if you do technical drawing at all, this is a good one because the Autodesk has been doing technical, AutoCAD is what their software, they've been doing it for over 40 years. So they're the ones that do AutoCAD and they did Sketchbook. So that's why if you do any technical stuff, You probably want to go with Sketchbook because what, like he mentioned in the video, they have a lot of features if you do that type of drawing. The one problem he had with it was it's very sensitive, but they do have a line smoothing tool. And it works on all four platforms, Apple, Android, Mac, and PC. And it is free. You do have to just sign up your email with AutoCAD. And that I've done it, and they don't bother you. It's just, they just want you to sign in. Now, My Paint, that's the one which is only on PC and Mac. And this is the one that's still kind of in development, but it had the cool feature of an infinite canvas and that scratch pad where you can blend colors ahead of time to see how things look. I mean, that's kind of neat. So that is definitely an option. Ibis Paint X, that one was free. This is the one where you have to watch an ad if you want to unlock the brushes, and they'll usually unlocks for a couple hours, but you can upgrade, of course, to get rid of the ads. And this one only works on Apple and Android, no Windows PC. Krita is another one that we mentioned, which is free. They have a lot of brushes. They have really cool animation features if you're doing any type of animation, and it works on all four platforms. And in the email at the end, I'm going to give you the list of all of these so you have them, and the videos so you can take a look again. And the Adobe Fresco, that's free from Adobe. And the cool thing that he liked about it, one of the guys, was the live brushes, where it feels just like you are painting on a canvas. So that one might be fun just to try out, just to see. If you are a person who does watercolor, oil painting, something like that, you might want to try it. It might be fun to see what that feels like on a digital. The thing with these apps, they're free. Try them out. If you don't like them, you can uninstall them off your app. You know, that you won't hurt anything by just trying them out. All right, so let's, anyone have any questions or comments? Carol? Hi, Carol.
Hi. So I don't understand how you, like, do you have to get a special stylus that looks like a pen?
Yes, if you get a tablet that attaches to your PC or your Mac, like the Wacom, that first video with the young lady, she had a little tablet that would attach to the USB port of your PC, and it comes with a little pen. Now, if you're using iPad, is tricky. Because there's the Apple Pen, which, you know, Procreate, if you want to use Procreate, you're going to have to, it only works with about 3 different pens, I think it is. You can do the Apple Pen, which is about, if you've got the, I would say, what is it, iPad 11, 12 version, that is $130 for that pen. You've got like a generation 7, 8, or 6 type iPad. That pen's about $95. You could go with the Logitech crayon. That's about $60. That will work with Procreate and most things on the iPad. That's the closest one really to the Apple Pen. The one feature it's not. Oh boy, I think it's the pressure feature on the pencil. I'll have to look that one up. I can't remember now what it was, but that's the one feature it doesn't have. So there's really nothing that completely mimics the Apple Pen. So if you have an iPad, you know, you can try the Logitech crayon and see if that will work for you.
Okay, so you have to have a certain kind have a certain kind of like pen if you have an iPad or tablet for the art.
I have, if you, like I said, Procreate is picky, but the other ones are fine with just, you know, I have 2 pens. I have a pen that cost me $12. I have an Apple Pen, and then I have a $12 pen. And the $12 pen works with just about everything but Procreate. It won't work with that.
Okay. So what type of pen is that? The $12 one? You
know, I got it on Amazon. I'd have to look it up. I can look it up and let you know.
I have
Okay.
one, Donna.
Oh, do you have? What do you have?
It's called Lezgo, Lezgo, high sensitivity stylus. And that's what I use on just my basic mini iPad. And it has a rounded end, but then the other end is one that's more like a point with that disc you use for sensitivity.
Oh,
And
great.
it cost me on Amazon, I think, $7 on sale.
There you go.
Okay.
Can you put it in chat and then people can get it?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
Thank you.
You have to just try them out. Because I know for myself, I'm more of a Windows Android person. I'm not on the Apple train very much, except I have an iPad because of music and art. You know, all the things I want to do, and it runs off the iPad. So, anyone else have any questions while Chris has that in there? Thank you, Chris. That's great. All right, so I'm going to let me get my iPad up. I just want to show you a couple apps when you're just starting out. If you are a person that's already playing around with these apps, you know, there's, as you can see today, there's a lot of popular apps that people are using. And I know one of them is one of Chris's favorites.
And that's because it's so simple. I look at those other ones and they are very like so many choices. So they overwhelm me. And since I'm more like, I want to put paint on paper and pen on paper, you know, I get like, forget that. So the app I really like that Donna may show you is just because it's so simple and basic, but has many options to do things.
Right. So Leah, let me show you, since Chris is here. We're so honored to have her here.
Oh, thanks, Donna. I do actually have sketches too. Now that you have the icon there, yes, I do have sketches too. Yes, I think I have the there's two versions. So like if you upgrade, it's called Sketches Pro.
Okay, this is just regular sketches. This is what Chris is talking about. And the nice thing with this is just it's simple. And I kind of agree with you, Chris, on this, that some of these, the only thing is on my screen. Here we go. I got it kind of acts funny when I connect it to the. So you can see I've been playing around with it. You can open it up. Let's see if I can do this without restarting my PC or something. And it is simple. You have your right here. You can pick your pens. Yeah, get the different. Pick your different styluses. You've got your, like this, got some red here. I can draw with I'm just drawing with my finger right now. I don't have a pen on me right here. But you can pick whatever type of pen you want. Pretty, you know, basic type of thing. These are great to just get started with. Another one, they had mentioned Sketchbook. Let's see if I can get Sketchbook on here. He liked this little thing you could drag around. Remember, he was talking about this in the video. And what this has is you click on it. You've got to pick your pens, the type of pens you want. You click on the color. You can pick your color. And again, you've got your pens on the left side here. So it's handy. Very simple interface. Because some of these others, I'm the same way, Chris. You know, I looked at the video, but I want to show people because some people might be ready for that.
Yeah.
And you could end up getting ready for that quickly. Who knows? So don't let all the buttons scare you, because once you get used to these a little bit, you know, going through them, there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube you can find to learn about these. This one's cool too. I like this art set. I don't think it's on Android. I think it's just, oh, wait a minute. I was starting to do my macaw. Let me get to the, oops. No, I just got disconnected. All right, let me get reconnected. Sorry about that. So the nice thing about this one here is it's just a very simple canvas. You can go ahead and pick what texture you want and color for the background. You can select your brush right here. Type of brush you're going to use if you're going to be drawing, painting. They've got sponges. It just goes on and on, the type of things you can pick. And then in the far corner, you can pick your color that you want to be drawing with, all the different colors. Very basic app. It's called Art Set 4, actually, I think is how it's listed in the app. And then Procreate, the other one they were talking about. Again, very simple. I'll open an empty canvas here.
But now Procreate, you have to pay for, right?
It's $10.
Oh, okay. Just one time.
Yeah, just one time. Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing with it, though, it's picky about the styluses.
Yeah.
But then again, the same thing. You've got, you can pick your brushes here, which brushes you want to use. Oh, I had it set on a gel pen. You know, you can also do it by your finger. You can select the finger up here if you're doing it with your finger. They
That
have the
seems
eraser
to be
here.
the one. Most illustrators who like really market their stuff, and
Yeah.
I follow on Instagram, who do beautiful things, and then they offer classes on it. That seems to be the one they all use.
You know, I did this, my little abstract art. I did this in about, and I haven't watched any tutorials on Procreate. And I did this in 10 minutes. It's not going to be in a gallery soon, I know. But
It's nice. You never know.
it'll be in the delete bucket probably. But, you know, I have a friend of mine who her daughter is just going to be graduating in a couple weeks as a digital, what do they call them now? Digital media major or whatever they call them. And I asked her, I said, well, I was kind of curious. I said, what are you using for your, you know, because she's a fantastic artist. Oh, my God. And she said Procreate. That's what they're all using. And she does, you know, yeah, you know, you just try them out. They're free. You're not, you know. And there's nice communities, too. Now, some of these, I think it's Sketchbook has a community of people online that you can.
Does. The one I use does.
Yeah,
too.
yours does too. And I think Procreate has one too. And they have little, you know, drawing contests and stuff like that. And you can have some fun with it. You know, the nice thing is, you know, you're not plunking down a lot of money. These are just free. And even some of the ones like Procreate, I was surprised when I found out it was $10.
Yeah, I am too. I always thought it was much more expensive.
I thought, okay, this sucker's going to be like $100.
Yeah.
Or something. That's what I was thinking. I knew it wasn't going to be as bad as like Photoshop.
Right.
But yeah, and they're so there's like 4 of them we mentioned: Sketchbook, Art Set, and Sketches, and Procreate. Those 4 give you a simple thing. There's others too, like this one's Drawing Desk. Let's see what this one looks like. I actually haven't looked at it to see what it. Have you ever done this one, Chris? Drawing Desk. Let's see what it is. Yeah, they have a coloring community. You can come in here. They give you a little, looks like this is a little tutorial. So they have a doodle desk, sketch desk. Oh, there we go. Here's another one.
That's neat.
That's kind of neat too. And they had different ones. So that's interesting. They have doodle. I really haven't gone into this one. So, but I mean, this looks like an interface I could work with.
What's that called again, Donna?
That one is called, let's see,
Drawing something?
I think it's Drawing Desk.
Okay.
Yeah, this looks nice. And then they have a doodle desk, and it looks like they have a community. Of course, I can't exit out of it now, but there it is. So they have a coloring desk, photo desk, quick shapes library. Yeah, this is drawing desk. So something like this could be a nice way to get started if you're, not too sure what you want to do. Yeah, give it a shot. It can be a little intimidating, to get into the digital world like this. But these are all, or just go into your Apple App Store or your Android, the Google Play Store. Just type in drawing app and just see what comes up. There might be something that you'll, when you see the screen, you can find something simple. If you can't find these, look for something, close to these where you can just, I do like having the picture where it says, this is you see a crayon. Yeah, I can relate to it. One of the guys in the video mentioned that, I'm not very smart. I need to, it has to look like a crayon. Otherwise, if I'm just clicking on a button that says crayon, I'm like, that doesn't look like a crayon. Anyone have any questions? I hope this was helpful for you today. There's going to be another class. Like I said, I think it's either next week or the week after. We're going to kind of do an intro to digital art where we're going to talk about some of the tablets, like the Wacom tablets and different terminology that comes with all these things. Like you heard today, you heard a lot of terminology in the videos, and we'll talk about those type of things in another class. So that will get you into the world. It's kind of fun. I got into like the Procreate, like I said, 5 minutes from my masterpiece. And I was just messing around trying the different brushes, and it was fun, So there is a related classes, creating art on the iPad. I put this in here. I don't know who teaches it. It's not me, thank God.
Not me.
It's not Chris. Chris says, so I don't know who does this one. And then we have Magic of Photo Apps, taking your photos, turning them digital. Scott does that class. Photos in Works of Art is another one. And we do have, of course, the art history classes, Famous Women in Art History. We've done a Leonardo da Vinci class. Yesterday, we did our first rendition of the art discussion group where we did Name That Masterpiece. Chris, you should have been there for that.
I didn't know you had that. I would have been there.
We started last night. It was fun. I just put up different masterpieces, and we just tried to figure out who painted it. If anyone knew the name, it was fun. A little challenge.
Maybe it was after my bedtime.
It might have been. It was at 5 p.m. on Pacific.
Hey Donna, do you sculpt? You do sculpting by chance?
That hasn't been on the schedule. We'd have to find someone.
I just want to do someone who can show me, how to do the eyes, how to do the nose, because my real life sculpture teacher sucks. So.
Oh, you have a real life. Oh, okay.
He's old and it takes us a half hour to get onto Zoom, so I need I need some help here.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
He tells us to look at videos, so fine, I look at videos, but I want some real time. Here's how you do the nose. Look at the planes. Blah blah blah.
Right. What are you sculpting? Is it?
I do clay. He's got us doing all kinds of junk.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Stuff you pour like plaster. Like I just want to do clay, and it's a big fight over armatures, and we don't want to do that.
Well, not yet. I don't know. Who knows what'll happen?
Okay.
We'll put it in a suggestion that you would like someone to do sculpting.
Oh, I see. They've already written an article on me. Blah blah.
Oh, that article was really nice, Carol. You did a good job on that.
It wasn't edited. I'm like really pissed. Some of it wasn't all sentences.
Oh, really? Okay. You'll have to talk to whoever wrote it. So the class notes you'll get, I will give you a list of these apps. You'll get links to all the videos I showed you today, and there's some extra videos which have other apps, non-drawing apps that are good for people who draw digitally. So these are apps that allow you to, they have little posing figures for movement. If you draw human figures, there's apps that will do that, for you. So just different types of apps that are good for artists. So you'll get that also in the email. So take a look for that too. All right. And we can invite friends now. If you're on a mobile device or if you're on your desktop, you can go ahead and invite a friend. You can invite them through email, Facebook, and other social media. And we have our help at getsetup.io email, all purpose. You can ask for help, for support. You can, if you're interested in hosting an interest group or anything like that, let us know and we can get you started with that. You can suggest new classes. If you have an organization that we think could use our services, go ahead and let us know about them and we'll contact them. And of course, you can always get session recordings through help at getsetup.io. So thank you, anyone. Anyone have any final questions?
Thank you, Donna.
Nice seeing you again, Chris.
You too.
So we miss you.
Oh, take care. I'll look for you somewhere soon again.
All right. It's great seeing you, Chris. Thank you for your input and everything too.
Bye. Thanks.
Everyone enjoy. Have a great Mother's Day, everyone.
Thanks.
And enjoy your rest of your weekend. We'll see you later.